What's the biggest bullet you've ever dodged? I was 24, broke as hell, living with 3 roommates who treated our apartment like a frat house. Every morning I'd wake up to empty beer cans and someone's leftovers molding in the sink. My girlfriend kept telling me I needed to get my life together, and honestly she was right. That's when I saw this ad online. High-paying assistant position abroad. Free housing, great salary, all travel expenses paid. It sounded too good to be true, but I was desperate. I'd been unemployed for 3 months, and my savings were basically non-existent. I applied that same night without even reading the fine print. The recruiter called me the next morning. Some guy with a thick accent saying my resume was perfect, and they needed someone immediately. He said they'd pay for my plane ticket. All I had to do was sign the contract and show up. When he emailed me the paperwork, I barely skimmed it. There were a lot of medical waivers and weird clauses about health screenings, but I figured it was just standard stuff. My girlfriend was freaking out. She kept saying something felt off, that legitimate companies don't recruit people this fast. But I was so tired of being broke and living like a college kid that I brushed her off. It's just a dream job, I told her. Some people get lucky. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to some country I'd never even heard of. The flight was long, and I spent most of it imagining what my new life would be like. Maybe I'd finally be able to afford my own place. Maybe even save up enough to propose to my girlfriend properly. When I landed, there was a driver waiting with my name on a sign. Really professional-looking guy in a suit. He took my passport right away, saying it was for verification and immigration purposes. I didn't think much of it since I was exhausted from traveling. The drive took about an hour through roads I didn't recognize. We ended up at this big gated facility that looked more like a hospital than an office building. The driver brought me to what he called my temporary room while they processed my paperwork. It was small, basic, with just a bed and a tiny bathroom. The weird part was there was no door handle on the inside. I asked the driver about it and he just smiled, saying it was for security purposes and someone would be by in the morning to explain everything. That night I couldn't sleep. Something felt really wrong, but I kept telling myself I was just nervous about starting a new job. The next morning a nurse showed up wanting to take blood samples. She said it was routine medical screening for all employees. But when I asked to see my contract again or talk to someone about my actual job duties, she just kept smiling and saying someone would explain later. I refused the blood work and she left without saying anything. That's when I realized I was locked in. I tried the door and it wouldn't open from the inside. There was no phone in the room, no internet connection, nothing. I started banging on the door but nobody came. The only window was small but I could see through it, and what I saw made my blood run cold. There were other people being wheeled around on gurneys, some hooked up to IVs, all looking confused or unconscious. I saw one guy about my age trying to walk but he could barely stand up. A nurse was helping him but he looked terrified, like he didn't know where he was. I spent the whole day trying to figure out how to get out. The window was my only option. It was small and high up, but I managed to pry it open using a metal coat hanger I found in the closet. I waited until night when the hallway lights dimmed and there were fewer people around. Climbing out was the scariest thing I've ever done. I had to drop about 10 feet to the ground and I landed hard on my ankle. I didn't have shoes, just socks, but I ran anyway. I had stuffed a tourist map from the airport in my sock earlier, hoping it might help me find civilization. For 2 days, I walked through roads and small towns, sleeping in bushes and drinking water from gas station bathrooms. People kept staring at me because I looked like hell. Dirty clothes, no shoes, probably smelled terrible, but I didn't trust anyone enough to ask for help until I found a U.S. consulate. When I finally made it there and told them what happened, the woman at the desk went pale. She made some phone calls and then sat me down to explain that the facility I'd been at was under investigation for organ trafficking. They would fly people in with fake job offers, sedate them, harvest their organs, and dump the bodies. She showed me some files and my name was on a surgery schedule for the morning after I escaped. Next to my name, it just said kidney extraction and liver partial. I threw up right there in her office. The consulate helped me get emergency travel documents to get home, but I